Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Esports Talk. My name is Caleb, but you're not here for me. You read the headline. You were here for the man himself that we're interviewing today, ZLaner. How are you feeling?
I am great. Thanks for having me on.
It is a pleasure to have you here. I'm very, very excited to get into this with, of course, absolutely no technical issues. I don't know what you're talking about. So let's dive. So to start off, of course, recently you got to join Optic and the Team Envy, and there's been a lot of buzz about that. This has been a wild announcement to see hit the headlines for anybody that's been following your career up until this point. So to start things off, I just want to ask, now that you're here, now that you've been with the group for a little bit, how are you feeling about it?
Just over the moon. I have been a fan of Optic and just content creation on this scale ever since I've been a little kid, and to now have things come full circle and be a part of a team and working alongside people that I grew up watching and idolizing is just I get goosebumps just thinking about it. I'm extremely grateful to be in this position, and yeah, I'm just absolutely honored.
In addition to that, talking about the wild and crazy changes that have been happening in the past couple of months, Warzone has certainly been going through quite a few highs, quite a few lows. That I know people have been talking about a lot. So how do you at this point feel about how Caldera is going?
You know, to be honest, I don't think it's a secret. I think anyone out there, you know, not just, you know, content creator, pro player, from those standpoints, but just any player at all. Everyone in this entire game, I think, feels at least a similar vibe, and that is that, you know, there's a lot of issues with the game right now. There's a lot of bugs. There's a lot of, you know, technical things on the technical side of things that, you know, are making the game, you know, making us not really be able to experience Caldera the way it should be, I think, experienced. You know, I think, unfortunately, and sadly, that's probably putting a negative taste in a lot of people's mouths, thinking that, you know, maybe it is the map. Maybe they just don't enjoy the map. When in reality, I think a lot of the issues right now are just coming down to a lot of the bugs that are in the game. You know, a lot of the bugs that we've been dealing with since the new map release. You know, it's been unfortunate to see not too much happen. You know, obviously, I totally understand a holiday break. A holiday break just recently took place. Totally understand that. But for the game to be left in the state that it was at when the holiday started, and then now the holiday kind of be wrapped up and then everyone back to it, and there's still to be so many issues in the game. It's you know, it's a little bit tough to see, but at the same time, I'm optimistic. I'm being optimistic about it. I have faith in the dev team. I really do love this game, and I've been talking about this a lot recently. You know, whenever I'm criticizing this game, whenever any content creator or anyone with a platform is criticizing the game or giving any type of constructive criticism, people really got to understand that 99.9% of the time, you know, obviously there are people out there that are just going to hate on everything. But, you know, if you ever hear me being negative or whatever towards the game, or you ever hear me giving my opinion, or people usually take it as a negative thing, I promise you it's always in good faith. It's always coming from a place of, listen, I just love this game. I want to see this game thrive. I want to see it do as well as possible, because it also is my career. I want to see the game do very, very well. So, you know, it's always coming from a place of not, I want to see this game crash and burn. It's like, okay, I'm sick and tired of seeing these issues. You know, let me voice my opinion, so maybe hopefully someone hears, you know.
On that note, how do you feel about the announcement that they're planning to adjust the time to kill, which has been an issue a lot of people have talked about in the game, specifically via reducing ADS speed, in contrast to a lot of the other suggested ways to fix that, like increased health, decreased weapon damage, decreased multipliers, etc.
So yeah, I mean, when it comes to this particular update and announcement, you know, obviously a lot of the, like I touched on before, you know, a lot of the people are going to see a reply, a particular, like, probably like my reply, which is, you know, this is not a good change. This is not a good way to tackle this particular thing, which is a good thing to be tackling. You know, TTK, people got to understand, when they are trying to do something like raise the TTK, that's a good thing. That's a good thing for casual players. It's a good thing for pro players, any player at all. Basically just making it so that it takes more bullets to kill, or sorry, it takes a longer time to kill, and making it so that, you can either get to cover a little bit quicker, you can outplay a little bit more when that is the case. I'm totally fine, and I'm almost sure that I could speak for 99% of the competitive scene and content creators when I say that I'm almost certain that everyone is in agreement with this. And when people see comments like my own or a lot of other players and content creators in the scene tweet sort of the things that they said along the lines, with this particular update and many others, they see it as like this is a negative thing. Oh, they all want this thing, yet they complain about it. It's like, no, we do want this. We're totally fine with an increased TTK, but that doesn't mean do it in a way that is not going to be good. Don't do it in a way that's going to benefit, for instance, camping, which is what this would do a little bit more. It favors the players that are kind of locked into a building, holding down at one particular line of sight, maybe looking at a door, because if they slow down the ADS speeds, and an aggressive player wants to push into a room and try to make some type of outplay, there's no outplay potential anymore because the ADS speed is so slow. Now, obviously, I'm not sure how drastic this is going to be. It's probably not going to be the craziest thing ever, but again, if they're trying to raise the time to kill, if that is their end goal, which I think is a phenomenal end goal, don't do it by decreasing ADS speeds. Do it by increasing health, overall player health. Do it by decreasing the damage of weapons. There's many other ways of going about it. I don't think the decreased ADS speed is like the best possible route, but yeah.
At the very least, I have also seen a lot of praise from people in regards to the fact that we are getting, at the very least, that communication and that insight into why this is happening, what their thought process is, and what changes they're planning to make. Unpopular as though they may be, at the very least, we're aware of them and can have these discussions, make these criticisms and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think something we talked about in another recording that might have had some technical difficulties, but that's okay. Another game that I grew up playing a ton and I think does a phenomenal job as far as how their dev team goes about making changes and implementing changes into a game is old school RuneScape, a game that I've played my whole life. I'm still a fan of it. I don't play it as much as I used to, but I still absolutely love the game. And I love the way that they go about implementing new things in the game. They have a system where they have an in-game polling system where you can go in and whenever they'll have a list of new changes that they want to implement in the future or they want to implement very, very soon in the future. And they sort of allow their community to vote. And they say, hey, if this reaches, I think 75% of the player base votes yes, then we'll implement it. If not, we'll either go back to the drawing board and reassess it because this is a direction we want to go in, but maybe you guys just don't like the way that we're approaching it. I think it's such a cool way for a game to communicate with its community. Obviously, Warzone is one of the biggest games in the world, so I'm not sure exactly how this would end up scaling in that way, but it would still be cool to see because people got to understand if they did do an approach like this. It doesn't mean that the dev team goes 100% on what the community says, because I don't think that would always be the best case as well. I think, obviously with little bugs and little, quality of life changes, the dev team needs to have full control. They need to do what they do best. They need to do what they're hired to do and that they have all trained to do. And that is make a kick-ass game. But I think for a lot of the major updates, it would be very, very cool. For instance, this is a phenomenal example of them tweeting out saying, hey, we want to tackle time to kill. Here's what we're doing. They tweeted this out and then everyone gives their opinion. Imagine, you log on to Warzone, you get into the game, and the first thing you see is just a quick little yes or no question. It's just, they give that same tweet almost like, here's what we're going to do. Do you guys think this is a great idea? What is your opinion on it? Just to even have a good feel for what the player base wants and what they, think would be good. And again, they don't need to fully just take that and be like, okay, well, this is now the definitive answer. We're going to go with this or we're not going to go with this. But at least they would have more insight as to what the player base really is thinking about on a lot of these decisions. It'd be cool to see. I think it'd be cool to see.
Zlander likes RuneScape too. It's not just me.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can't make fun of me.
Oh no, no one can make fun of RuneScape. I mean, come on now.
They still will. They still will. And of course, on the subject of what the dev team behind Warzone is doing in recent times to try and improve the quality of the game, we can also talk about Ricochet Anti-Cheat, which has been live for a good enough chunk of time now, I feel like, for people to get some very well-experienced opinions on the subject matter. So how do you feel so far about how good a job Ricochet is doing to combat cheating in Warzone?
Well, I think a lot of people are gonna see, okay, an anti-cheat's here now, so we must not have any hackers, and that's just people gonna get that idea out of their mind. I mean, this is a free-to-play game, cross-platform. People are able to be on PCs while they play this. You know, it doesn't matter how amazing this anti-cheat gets. There will always be people that are talented and skilled enough to be able to cheat their way around these systems, and that is just the way it is going to be. Now, that sounds very pessimistic, but there's an optimistic way of looking at it as well, and that is that now that we do have an anti-cheat, I can guarantee you that the state of Warzone's hacking issues is nowhere near some of the dark times that we have dealt with in this game's lifespan. I think that ever since Caldera's dropped, I've maybe ran into like a total of 2 or 3 hackers, and that is it, versus maybe running into two to three hackers once a day, over on Verdansk. And, it's not perfect, but it's better. And I hope to see them continue to work on the anti-cheat, continue to optimize it, make it as good as possible, because I think it's doing good. I think it's doing solid. People need to get the idea out of their mind that because the anti-cheat's here, that they're never going to run into a hacker again. Just realize that, people are going to be able to make their way, do their thing and, weasel their way around stuff. But as long as they are continuing to keep on top of it and optimize it and making it better and better and better, I'm sure the state of the game and the state of the hacker situation will just continue to get better and better.
I still have the nightmares about the days of Verdansk where someone could just walk through a wall and gun me down from across the map, and I'm really glad that those days are behind us.
Definitely.
we're in a much better spot now. But on the subject, of course, of anti-cheat, as you had mentioned before, this is yet another strike of evidence in your favor in terms of combating the very, very frequent accusations that you've had over the course of your career, with people drawing a question to your great degree of skill. And so I guess from there, I want to ask, what is it like to be so unbelievably cracked at Call of Duty that people have a hard time believing that any mere mortal could be capable of pulling the kinds of clips that you do?
I just ever since I kind of was started to gain some traction, and obviously that is where a lot of this is going to happen. Garnering a fan base is going to end up having people wanting to come and try to tear that down, or at least try to get a little piece of that pie. Of course, it's not going to happen when I still have a fan base, but I'm playing a totally different game, and I don't have as much clout and all these different things. People aren't going to question things as much. But it doesn't matter how many LAN events I show up at over the next, year and smash, recently coming third and placing in the money. It doesn't matter how many, if I join an org or if I have never been banned, or just have how much evidence I put out there. It does not matter. There will always be the people that are making these kind of accusations or actually believe these things. It's never going to be good enough for them. I could probably have them sit at my setup and they could use my stuff, and there would still be some type of questioning going on. And to be honest with you, I've just accepted that reality. I've gotten to a point now where I'm just allowing my actions to speak louder than words. I'm never going to be banned. It's just not going to happen. I'm not cheating. I put my side of the story out there ages and ages ago, only due to the fact that I felt, I've put a lot of time into this. I've played video games my whole life. I am extremely passionate about video games. I love Call of Duty, and I just hate, I don't need, like I said, I don't need people patting me on the back at every second of the day and telling me I'm incredible, and boosting my ego. But, it definitely is a little, it's a little trashy, a bit of a trashy feeling to know, you put so much work and love and dedication into something and have people trying to tear it down. Now, obviously, like I said, This comes with the territory. This is this business. It's going to be in this business forever. It's going to always be in entertainment. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to share my side of the story. I kind of put some videos out ages ago, kind of showed that little bit. And then from there on, I've kind of just let actions speak louder than words. You know, the biggest content creators in the world, one of the biggest orgs out there, you know, all these different people that are willing to invest in me and put their trust in me that wouldn't have anything to do with me. And that's the other thing too. Like I said, people will always, like, it'll never be good enough. There are people that'll go as far as saying that they know I'm hacking and that they're totally fine with allowing me to continue to hack. People like Tim and Doc and all these people risking their own names, putting their own names on the line, playing with someone like such a dirty cheater like myself. They, you know, that it just blows my mind. But, you know, like I said, those are the only people I care about. The people I've never, ever been into question. My name's never been brought into question with anyone with any actual credibility, any professional players that I compete against, any content creators that I make content with, any organizations I've had conversation with, and now being with Optic, they have no, there's no question about it.
Absolutely. And I feel like it's a very salient point you made about this is the kind of a thing that happens no matter what kind of an industry you're in, no matter what kind of field it is, no matter what you do. There's always going to be people that are hypercritical of you, but the people that really matter are going to be the people that have that close-up analysis of you, the people that work with you on a regular basis, and the people that can verify that you are who you say you are, you're doing what you say you're doing, and as long as that progress is there, like you said, it'll speak for itself.
Yeah, exactly.
And on that note, and on the note of fantastic people you've worked with, as you mentioned, you have done a lot of streaming with Dr. Disrespect in the past year. I remember back on the 15th of December, you did a fantastic job in that game Fuel 2v2. It was quite the feat to watch in action. And so just in general, with both of you being some very, very big names in the space, what is it like working with Dr. Disrespect?
Just like the Optic thing, like I said before, as cheesy as it is to say, it's an absolute dream come true. I am just a Doc. Like every time I'm playing with Doc, I am literally just a massive fan that gets the opportunity to play with one of his idols. You know, I this is no joke. I'm a Canadian, so this is gonna be the most Canadian thing I could possibly say. But this is literally just like a kid in playing house league hockey. You know, growing up doing his thing and getting to hop on the ice with like Wayne Gretzky or Sidney Crosby, or just like, you know, that really is what it is. Doc has paved the way for people like myself and many other content creators out there. I've watched his content now for years, ever since the H1Z1 days, and I'm in love with the guy. I can't believe it's gotten to a point now where it goes beyond the game, it goes beyond the content creation. The fact that I have a friendship with someone I've admired and looked up to for such a long time. It's just every single time I get to run with Doc and talk with Doc and pick his brain, and I'm just extremely grateful, extremely appreciative, and just, yeah, I'm over the moon.
I'm glad to hear it. It's great to hear that it lives up to being as exciting as it seems like for a lot of the fans watching. I know there's a lot of people that are big fans of you and the Doc both, who are really going to be excited to hear that it is as much fun for you as it is for the people at home getting to watch.
Hell yeah.
And on that note, I'm sure you have heard, being a friend of his, much about the Midnight Society, and are as excited as the rest of us are for what this phenomenally well-stocked team is going to be able to put together. Some of the names on this list, people that are industry veterans for Call of Duty, for Halo. So what are you expecting out of what their flagship game, still unbeknownst to most of us, is going to be? And and just how hype are you in general?
I'm extremely hyped. I know that the game is going to have the greatest audio that we've ever seen out of any video game ever. That is no question at all. Knowing Doc. But no, all jokes aside, I'm extremely ecstatic. I know that Doc isn't just I've said this before. I think Doc, or any gaming and content creator in the space, you know, that ends up building a fan base and has been in video games for a long time, you know, they could end up, you know, getting to a point where they say, hey, I want to make a game, or I want to be involved in some type of video game creation, and, you know, utilize their fan base to create something like that and gain the connections to get developers and get people involved. And that's super cool. I think almost any content creator could get involved and do that. But the difference between Doc and any content creator is that Doc actually has legitimate experience being involved in making games, making games like Call of Duty, developing maps for Call of Duty. And I'm just extremely excited. I know Doc, we talk about this regularly on and off stream, how, we both long and want a game that we can just sink our teeth into, that when we're playing it, hours upon hours just go by and we don't even want to get off. And then when we do get off, we want to get right back on. Like, those are the best games, man. And we've all experienced that at one point or another, when you're just extremely addicted to a game and you're just loving it. And I'm just really excited to see what Doc and his team end up pulling together. A lot of talented people involved. And I'm excited.
So are very, very many of us, and for sure, the minute that anything drops, you've got to be on the short list to be getting one of those early access keys, guaranteed.
Oh yeah. I'll 100%, or I'm going to be having some issues with Doc. 100%.
Absolutely, you're gonna have to call him personally.
I'll be hitting up the flip phone.
Of course, we hope to see you involved in whatever Midnight Society is able to put out, whether it's snuck into the game itself or actively playing it. But let's talk about where we might be able to see that and any other games you might be enjoying in the very near future. I know you've been co-streaming on YouTube and Facebook Gaming for quite some time, got a lot of experience on both platforms. And so while we are in a space with so many people talking about the ongoing war between Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, how are you feeling about these two platforms you've been experiencing so far? Any pros and cons to either you'd like to share with any other content creators out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think something that is just very apparent for anybody is that Twitch has kind of had their, they've had a very strong monopoly in streaming and gaming, given that they also have been in the game for the longest. They've been involved in this for a very, very long time, and so it just completely makes sense that has kind of almost just happened naturally. They are now starting to realize, or at least I mean, I don't know if they are realizing it. Maybe they aren't, but maybe they will eventually have a wake-up call that they're not the only platform out there and not the only viable platform that cares about, actually wanting to create a platform where not only viewers enjoy to go watch the experience, but the content creators enjoy to produce the content there. So, we'll see what happens with that. I truly do believe, though, that competition is phenomenal for any market at all. Having the competition between, not just having, Twitch being like this be-all, end-all platform where this is where you go to watch streams, is amazing, because now what that's going to do is it's going to make it so that other platforms, give it a little bit of competition and make it so that we see a lot of progress and maybe some new innovative things come to the live streaming realm. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens in the entire grand scheme of things. I personally myself am streaming over on Facebook. I absolutely love everything that they're doing and implementing into trying to make live streaming just even better and more accessible and more of a possibility of creating it a full-time job. Facebook just alone has invested over $1 billion into the streaming realm over this last year. And they've been doing things like giving, first-time viewers a free $2 to tip every, any streamer they want. If you've never tipped before, just little things like that, giving 100% sub revenue, not at all times, but I think during certain pockets of time. Right now, in particular, you get 100% of your sub revenue. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that's for everybody. I might have to fact check that or something, but I'm almost certain that it's 100% at the moment. One thing that I really think that FB has going for itself as well, other than the massive amount of people in the market there that aren't being reached at all by a lot of content creators, is also the fact that you have the accessibility to almost having an all-in-one thing. With Twitch, you need to outsource things to Twitter, you need to outsource to YouTube, you need to outsource to other platforms, you need to outsource to Facebook sometimes to talk to your fan base off stream. Whereas with Facebook, it's really cool. You kind of have your groups and you have your page and you have all this different stuff where you can share your content. So it's super, super cool. I love that I can kind of do everything on the platform. I love that I can stream there. I can also release VOD content. I can release shorts. I can release reels. All these different things. It's really, really, really cool to see. I'm excited to see what they're going to do also on their own, and ideas that they're going to bring to the table, and new things that they're going to bring to the streaming world that other platforms haven't even done yet. I'm very, very excited to see that. And I'm also very excited to sort of spearhead any new projects whatsoever. I'm also excited to hopefully someday see some type of integration with Instagram. I think it would be a phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal idea. I think it'd be phenomenal. I think it's a great secret weapon that they have at their disposal that, who knows what will happen at some point. Maybe some type of IG gaming integration that could take place. Who knows? I know that would be phenomenal. I say I know. I don't know everything, but I have a feeling that if done correctly, it could be an extremely big thing. I think it could be. So to have that involved.
With that in mind, and with your experiences thus far, and of course with all the things people are talking about, I know people have been very recently, to be topical, discussing the sub split between content creators and the platform on Twitch being different than YouTube or Facebook gaming. And I actually want to ask you a question related to that. People have been pushing recently. There's been a user voice, the forum that Twitch uses to get community feedback. There's been a post gaining a lot of traction. It is the most upvoted post on the forum in general for adjusting the sub split to be 70-30 like it is on Facebook and YouTube. But there's also been a lot of people not so much criticizing the idea so much as saying basically Twitch is never gonna let that happen. At the very least, it's going to be a kicking and screaming kind of a thing. So I kind of want to know what you think. Do you feel like the 50-50 split that Twitch takes currently is unfair? And if so, do you think that there is a likely chance of them changing it anytime soon?
I think people saying that it would never happen is definitely, I don't know. I think I think it goes a little too far, to be completely honest with you, because, look at the traction other platforms really are picking up right now. I feel like the biggest issue, not the biggest issue, sorry, the biggest thing for a long time was that, Twitch was just this monopolized thing and had no competition and was just able to get away with things like this for a very, very long time. This is, again, like I said, the reason why, a little bit of competition is really, really, really good for all platforms, because, Twitch can continue to keep, the way it does its sub count the way it is. And who knows, maybe that'll be enough to push people to other platforms, and maybe that'll be enough for them eventually, hopefully for their sake, it's, whatever happens to them, but hopefully for their sake, they catch it sooner than later, and they're like, hey, maybe we should tweak this, maybe we should do something like that, because, look at the numbers, look at the back end, what's going on. We don't have access to any of that, but, they do, and who knows what they're going to do with that information. I like I said, I think the competition just kind of brings out sometimes a lot of those changes, whether they want to make it or not, whether I think it's, I don't know. I think the 70-30 split's pretty fair. I think it would be pretty fair for content creators to have that. But again, it's their platform. They can make their decisions. But again, the content creators and the viewers are going to make their decision as well on where they want to watch. And if they don't want to watch and they don't want to create content on a platform where they don't feel valued, then, that's going to need to change. It's going to need to change, but we'll see what happens.
You shall indeed. This is going to be quite the year, I can imagine, in terms of the various platforms. There have been so many big things going down that, God only knows what we're going to be seeing in the next couple of months, let alone the entirety of 2022. And so with all of that in mind, I also want to talk about what your 2022 is going to look like in particular. Are there any big projects ahead of you? Anything that you're really, really excited about? Anything you can tease for the year ahead?
We're going to be doing lots of big things. No question about it. Nothing that I can really tease on at the moment, but we're just going to be trying to, at my core, like the one thing that I'm always going to be making sure I'm doing no matter what at all times is producing the best possible content that I can personally produce. And that is all I ever want to do for my viewers and my supporters. I just want to put out the best possible content out there so that, people just have some good, fun stuff to watch. But as far as big projects and whatnot go, there will definitely be big projects throughout the year that I'm excited to work with alongside, just with my team and then also with Optic and all that different stuff. So yeah, I'm excited about the year ahead for sure.
And so I feel like with, your position as one of the biggest content creators in the COD scene, it's really interesting to look at what your goals might be now versus earlier on in your career. You've done all these things, you've managed to make all these dreams come true. So at this high point, are there any like big long-term like dream goals you still have left on the table? What are you still looking to achieve in terms of your career as a gamer?
When I'm not going to get into some massive spiel, but I will say when I did first start streaming, or at least even first plan to start streaming, my if I could have ever made this just a full-time career, I was going to be content. I was going to be happy. I was going to be super grateful. And I've done that. I've been able to get to a point where it's now a full-time career, and that that is all that I'm really ever happy about. I love that I'm very grateful and I'm very fortunate to be able to do what I love every single day. And that to me is enough to keep me wanting to grind all the freaking time and just put out the best possible content that I can possibly produce, so people want to keep coming around. That is enough for me. But with that said, there all the things that have been achieved, getting to now be not just gaming buddies with some of the biggest in the business, but actual genuine friendships have been made. That has surpassed expectations. That has taken things to a whole nother level. And I'm always open to seeing what's next. What's exciting. I don't have like this. I'm not following some type of rule book. I'm not following some type of roadmap in particular. I'm kind of just utilizing a lot of the same formulas I've used since day one, which is basically just try to make the best possible content I can, network, all these different things. And who knows what's going to happen. I'm just, like I said, about almost like with almost like we were talking about earlier, I'm kind of just going with the flow. I'm kind of just going with the flow, putting the best content I can out there, and the stuff whatever will happen will happen.
There's a lot of people out there that are hoping to take a similar path, and hopefully we'll have a lot more people enjoying the space, because it truly is continuing to grow. So anybody out there hoping to be the next Z-Laner, there you go. That's all you have to do. This makes it simple but not easy. Is the best way
it's one of those things I always tell people whenever anyone's coming to my stream. It's I heard a quote one time to get super deep and philosophical, but I did hear a quote one time. Someone basically saying that in life there is no, and it sounds at first like this depressing, very pessimistic way of looking at things, but I think it's just a very smart way of looking at things. You don't ever want to set yourself up for failure. You don't want to ever set yourself up for like this letdown moment. And I made sure to always have this mindset going in, and that is there is no sure ticket to anything in life. Make sure you love what you do, and obviously so many people say that. Make sure you love what you do. Make sure you love what you do, because you'll never work a day in your life. All that kind of stuff. But as cheesy as it sounds, it really is a fact. You have to make sure that if you are gonna take on this endeavor of wanting to make content creation a full-time career, there's nothing wrong with that as well. Saying, hey, my goal is to maybe make this it's a very realistic goal in this day and age, like to be able to create content online. And people like we've talked about, people like Doc are the kind of people that have been paving the way for making this type of stuff possible. If you're going to take this type of a journey, make sure that at its core, regardless if you're trying to make it a career or not, make sure that at its core you love what you're doing and you enjoy the fundamentals of it. You at least either enjoy the community aspect of it, you enjoy the video game aspect of it, or you enjoy both of it mashed into one. Because like I said, in life, no sure ticket to anything. I made sure to every single day pound that into my mind and just say, hey Z, listen, as long as you're loving what you're doing, none of this is time wasted at all. None of this is time wasted. So no matter what, if I wouldn't be where I am right now, I would, it's definitely a much easier, it's a much easier thing for me to be able to say and talk about now, being in the position I guess that I'm in. But at the same time, it's definitely something that I would always try to keep on my mind, because I think it's extremely important for people to do that. Content creation and getting into this business is it's definitely there's a lot of people trying to do it. You know what I mean? So it's just, you got to make sure you and I think you better your odds. I think you genuinely better your odds when you are coming across more genuine, when you are coming across as someone that just loves doing what they're doing. They love creating the content or playing the video games, or like I said, doing a bit of both. So yeah.
It's been a wild ride just being tangential to a couple of things, looking at the rise of a couple of different people and having my own relatively interesting path through the side of the industry I'm on. So I can relate to a lot, and I really think a lot of people are gonna find it touching. It's very, very much appreciated, man. Thank you so very much for coming on for this interview with us. I know a lot of people are going to be very excited to hear from you. This is going to be a big surprise for everybody out there looking to hear more about your thoughts and ideas and everything to be excited for in the wonderful world of ZLaner in this next year. So thank you for having us. Anything closing thoughts, anything you want to say to the people, your adoring public out there?
No, I mean, just thank you so much for having me on, and I really appreciate the conversation.
I'm always more than happy to have a conversation with you. This is going to be a great year, and we will definitely be making many more video on your various exploits as the year goes on. So thank you very much for being on.
Thank you.
That being said, that is all we have for you today, folks. Thank you for joining us. If you want more exclusive interview content like this, please do let us know in the comment section down below, and please make sure that you are subscribed, because trust me, 2022 is going to be a big year for ZLaner, and it'll be a big year for us. And anything that goes on with him, best assured, we'll be making some videos covering all those topics. But for right now, my name is Caleb. His name is ZLaner. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.